Hey, everybody, it's me, Mr. Santee, McNelis, coming to you live from You Build It Santee, and I am here with Councilmember Dustin Trotter as well, and we are talking about just Unscripted.
Yeah.
It's Unscripted.
Today's Thursday again.
It is Thursday. We're back on our regular time.
I said, not Friday.
No, back on our regular time. Soccer is starting now, so if you're not watching live, you're watching later after the soccer game, we won't tell you who wins.
Second game of the day, actually, there was one earlier today, so we do know who won that game.
Yeah, we do know.
So, that was a pretty good defeat.
We also know who didn't win the Padres game last night.
Yes, and who didn't lose.
And who didn't lose.
Yes.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was a loss for all Padres fans.
Yes.
An embarrassing loss for all Padres fans. That was rough. That was a rough one to watch. That was the worst loss in franchise history.
Yeah, I actually saw that later. I didn't realize that, honestly. I saw the score from the morning.
Like, that's a football score.
I saw the score from the morning, and it was at one point it was 9-0. And then a couple things happened.
I got to like 9-7, I thought, and then I know 3. That's right, 3.
Yeah,
okay. That was the night before that.
Yeah, the night before 9-7.
Yeah.
But then there was one inning. I don't know if it was the 8th or 9th. It was right at the end. It was an 8-run inning. At the end of the game, that's just just held the number even bigger.
Just so bad.
Just a beating.
Just an absolute beat down.
Yeah, and that was a morning game, like I said. So there wasn't nothing last night other than
soccer.
USA. Soccer last night. So most people probably watch it. We're giving you a recap of some of what everybody saw. But a 2-0 win.
Yes.
Phenomenal. That kick that the kid made, to get the second goal was amazing. But the scuttlebutt from that is the red flag that the guy got. Everything, I don't know a ton about international soccer, obviously, but that was not a red flag penalty. Every other person, every expert, every person that said that, it's worse. It was a yellow flag, absolute worst. But it was a football move or soccer move. It was not an intentional, to hurt him.
Yeah.
So the negative, obviously, they overcame that yesterday with the being down one player for the last 36 minutes. But the negative is on Monday when they play that he can't play.
Right.
He's out. He's out.
It is terrible.
Yeah.
That is so terrible.
It's just a bad decision by the ref, and there's no way to appeal it.
Yeah.
They talked about that today. There's no way to appeal it. There actually is a way for the international soccer, FIFA, whatever it is, to
overturn it.
No, they can't overturn it. They can impose further sanctions to them.
Oh,
yeah,
it's not the direction we want to go.
No, it's absolutely not. But I read this all this morning because the USA was talking about appeal, and the only thing that the USA can appeal is that if they add further sanctions.
Yeah,
they can appeal that, but they can't appeal the red card.
Yeah.
It's yeah.
So, anywho.
Well, congratulations to Team USA.
Absolutely.
Getting to Monday, got to play Belgium up in Seattle. It's going to be a hell of a game.
Yeah.
I mean, it is the round of 16. If you watch basketball in the March Madness, that's Sweet 16, right?
Yeah.
That you get to that level there, and you get past that. I mean, you're down to the Elite 8.
Elite 8.
So you're in the top 10 of the best teams in the world.
Let's see if USA can do it.
It'd
be neat. It'd be neat.
It would.
Our 250.
It would. And they, really cool. They've never won the World Cup, obviously. They did well in the Olympics in the past year recently. Mm-hmm. They've never gone that far in there. The perennial teams are, the Brazil, Argentina, Germany, England, Spain, Portugal. These are all the perennial teams, right? And they're going to be there. Yeah, I know. It's not, but I've been getting on this more, So
it's soccer.
But like I said, these types of things obviously unite, the nation, unite the community and things to something to root after. To your point, we can't root after the Padres right now. We'll continue to cheer, root for them. They're not doing well.
Yeah, we were in your neck of the woods last night, watching the soccer game. Even though we had a bunch of people at my house waiting for us, we stayed at Carlton Oaks.
Gotcha.
And watched it there because it was just we started it there like, I guess we're gonna finish it here. Yeah. and then went to the house, and yes, there's still a bunch of people at my place still having a great time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but
Just another Wednesday night in Santee.
just another Wednesday night in Santee. But we do have coming up on Saturday, kind of a big deal. Kind of a big deal.
To talk about another night in Santee, right? So Wednesday night, this particular event coming up on Saturday is probably, and I've said this, it's my top two. It's not number one, you know, it's my top two things that we do in Santee. And it probably is honestly number one, but Santee Salutes.
Yeah.
And we do this every single year here in the community. It is our Independence Day celebration here in Santee, bringing out 15,000 plus people into the park with the food trucks and the games for the kids and, you know, all the people, the live music, the patriotic, ceremonies and all that, cap it off by the fireworks at night. But this is obviously our America 250 this year. We have gotten donations from businesses. We have roughly another $50,000 going into our total 250 celebration, with a large portion of that going into Santee Salutes to make it even bigger and better than we've ever had.
Yeah. The band, you said you looked them up.
Yeah.
Those guys?
Yeah. So I asked my son, I said, who's playing at the Santee Salutes? And he says, those guys. And I said,
which guys?
What is that?
Those guys.
That's the name of the band, right? So I looked them up, and they're from Riverside County. I want to say it's where they're based at. They have a pretty big following, actually. I was surprised.
Yeah.
I didn't know what to expect. The music seems to be good. You know, it's fun. You know, I don't know.
Top 40s.
Top 40s. Yeah, it's just a little bit of everything.
Yeah.
But they have a pretty big following. I was really surprised in what I saw on the online about them.
That's good. We want good entertainment. They the band first start. Well, is it the do we have the Marine Band playing this year?
Yeah. So the Marine Band plays between the hour of 4 p.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay.
The Marine Band plays, and then at 6 p.m. is our ceremonial kickoff. Obviously the Pledge of Allegiance, National Anthem, the Marine Corps color guard.
Yeah.
All that kind of traditional things that we do.
Fantastic. So that'll all be out there. Come on out, see us. Make sure you come say hi, hang out with us for a few, have a cocktail or two. We will be there for the long haul.
Yeah, and you can find us pretty easy, guys. I mean, our booths kind of front and center right there. There's usually a line of our city booths and then a reserved booths that people pay for, all right in the front right there. Come over and say hi. You'll see ours will be all decorated patriotically. My wife's out buying decorations right now and all the things. So everything's going to be, Joe's got a schedule up here. So here we go. 4 to 5, performance by the 3rd Marine Aircraft Wing Band. 6 o'clock, patriotic ceremonies for the color guard and the military flyover. Special treat on that too. I'm not going to give that away. So if you're there, you get to see it. If you don't, you don't. But there's a very special flyover scheduled on Saturday. So, and then those guys.
Those guys.
All right, so getting there though, let's talk about that, right? So 9 p.m. obviously is the fireworks show, and that's synchronized to music and the whole 9 yards, and really cool. Very long. It's the longest fireworks show in San Diego County as far as time. So it's really long performance. But if you don't have prepaid parking, which like around the YMCA, Sportsplex, and all our little parking lots right in that area right there, we are having Santee Costco this year. Yeah. We're utilizing their parking lot because they will be closed. Costco is closed on the 4th of July.
Right.
So we're able to use their parking lot this year for the shuttles, or for parking in general, and we will be providing free shuttles.
Right.
To and from.
Starting at 3 o'clock.
Starting at 3 o'clock, and then the shuttles will go from 9 o'clock up till 11 p.m.
To
get you back over to your vehicle. So
because that'd be kind of a long walk.
It's a little bit of a long walk.
It'd be a bit of a walk.
A little bit of a long walk.
Can be done. It'd be a bit of a walk.
Walking is one thing, but schlubbing all your stuff.
Yeah. That's
where it gets you.
Happy 4th.
Yeah. See you too, Rebecca. But that's the thing. When you gotta slub your your kids and all the gear and the ice chest and the chairs and the wagon and who knows what else. It's a lot.
It's a lot.
It's a lot.
Yeah. We've all been there and done that.
Not
to Costco, at least, though.
Not to Costco.
Just getting into the parking lot. My goodness, that's so much stuff.
And that's the challenge. Honestly, it always has been. When we get above 5,000, 10,000, 15,000 people in the park, there, the parking becomes a problem. It's just there's only so much capacity that's around there.
Yeah.
Obviously, carpooling. Obviously. Ride sharing, things like that, riding your bikes down to the park, all those things are encouraged. But again, you get a trailer on your bike to tow all your stuff. I don't know. So.
Well, if you end up not having an ice chest, Dustin and I will have an ice chest out there. We share.
Always. We always share.
Sharing is caring.
Always.
We will share with you. Just come say hi to us, and we'll have something cold for you. Comments are open.
Comments open, yeah. So Santee Salutes, again, our biggest thing. If you guys haven't come out, you haven't seen it, we encourage you to come out, check it out. It's a great time for all. It's a family-friendly event. It is our biggest individual event in the city of Santee each and every year. So 365 days a year, this is the big one.
Yeah, we'll
far.
See. We think we are going to have the largest fireworks display in San Diego County.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sure there's others that think they're going to do it too. So we'll see. I think we are definitely going to have the longest.
We absolutely have the longest. I can hit you on there. I tell you right now that we will absolutely have the longest fireworks show. I just don't know about the number of shells in the biggest. That's what's in contention right now. But we do have an additional surplus, not that word. Additional allocation. We have allocated an additional amount of fireworks to this show than we've had over the previous years. We have a lot more.
It looks like Quipo's going to be cooking over at Riverwalk Grill.
Oh, okay.
Go see Quipo.
Yeah.
Make some damn good burgers.
That's right, over on the 4th. So you got Riverwalk Grill over there. You can obviously go get some food, get a burger, get a beer over there. Then we'll have food trucks and all the normal,
gourmet food trucks.
The snacky foods, the ice creams. I don't know what else is going to be there, but there's going to be a variety of different things, obviously, to partake in. And if you don't bring stuff for yourself, something else there to supplement your meal.
The kids will there'll be face painting out there. There'll be the bounce houses and all that stuff for the kids. So make sure, like I said, it is a very family friendly event. So please bring the kids out. They're welcome to be out there and having a great time and enjoying family together and friends together. And it is really a neat event every single year.
Well, Joe put the calendar up there a second ago. So at 4 p.m. really kicks off the main festivities up till 9 p.m. But the park does open at really the main event is our Santee Salutes is between 2 p.m. and 10 p.m. So you can go down there early in the morning on Saturday morning, drop off your tent, 8 o'clock, and on. You can set up your area, so to say. But after 2 o'clock, that's when it starts filling in a little bit in the park. And 4 o'clock, obviously, is when the festivities start. So between that 2 p.m. and 4 p.m. time frame, it's typical when you start seeing an influx of people in there. And then, after that 4 o'clock, it really starts filling in because, look, Joe's got our food vendors right there. So look at that.
Go.
American Flavors, Dirty Birds, Taco Picasso, the Go-Go Truck, Up in Smoke Barbecue, Turkish Grill, Born in Brooklyn, L&L Barbecue, and Pork Belly's Barbecue.
So lots of barbecue going on.
Yeah, if you go to the website,
4th of July.
Exactly. So you go to the website, you can obviously check out the local vendors there and see what kind of food they have. Obviously, the ones they barbecue are pretty self-explanatory, I think. Any other ones you want to check out, you want to see what they have.
Is Dustin here?
Yeah, he's on.
Yeah.
Yeah, just drop everything right there, bro.
Yeah.
You're good. You can check out all the vendors, obviously what they have on their menus and things like that. So you can plan accordingly. Most of them I would imagine they take cards, cash, but to make sure
they do.
You check all that out.
They do.
And then Quipo says come over and have a pint on him. So whatever he's offering, so he'll get you a pint if you buy a burger or something like that. I don't know.
He does make some damn good smash burgers. I had him over at Dean's. Quipo knows how to throw down. Steve says happy 4th to you both, all of you in Santee. Thank you, Steve.
Thanks,
Appreciate
Steve.
that. But it is a neat event. I love the bands. I love the music. It's always fantastic to see everybody out there dancing. And the best part is honestly, the lights go out. It's pitch black, and the first rocket goes off, and you just kind of look back into the crowd, and you see all the kids with in mom and dad's laps and being held and on the picnic blankets, looking up in the sky, and just big smiles on everyone's face, and it's really just a neat thing. It's a beautiful thing to see everybody that there together and enjoying themselves and just having a good time in a again, say it again, a good family friendly environment. It's it really is. It's neat.
No, I remember before I was elected to the Santee City Council, probably 14 years ago or something like that, roughly. You had grabbed me and you took me up onto the stage.
Yes.
And to what you're talking about, we were standing up on the stage and we were looking out over the crowd, and everybody the lights had come out. Everybody grabbed their kids, do all that stuff like that. And what Rob's saying is it's pitch dark, right? So you're looking over the crowd, but that first firework that shoots off and kind of illuminates the sky and goes, you can see it all, kind of just over the crowd and illuminates, and you see the moms, holding the babies or the kids snuggled up in the their blankies or whatever.
It's just a neat moment.
Everybody's kind of cuddled up and watching the show.
And it's a neat moment, man. It's definitely one of my favorite things to do is sneak over there by the stage and just get that bird's eye view. But
I remember that.
Seeing the little ones, especially when they, that maybe the first firework that they've either ever seen or at least at this point really recognize and know what it is. At that, that 3, 4, 5-year-old bracket there, it's really, it hits them different. It's just like, oh my gosh, this is so cool. And I love seeing that. I love seeing those faces light up like that.
Yeah, I've always been super proud. Like I said, since we opened this park in 2010, so I guess this will be 16 years. That Santee Salutes has been at Town Center Park East, and not only our biggest event, but I've always been super proud of this fireworks show. And we get a big donation, obviously, from Waste Management and some others.
And others. That's how we make it happen.
It covers the cost of these fireworks. But like I mentioned earlier, it's the longest fireworks show in the county of San Diego, and super proud that we're able to put this on every year for our community. It is our community event. It's our big one. Yeah. So
it is, and it is great that we do have other these businesses that want to help Santee make Santee's 250th like the best. Yeah. They're partnering with us to make this happen. They want the recognition of knowing, we help make it the best one in the county.
So there's a couple scuttlebutts out there in the city, and we'll talk about right now. But one of them is exactly that the city of Santee. This is countywide, actually. I guess I want to say there's a scuttlebutt out there that the city of Santee is whooping everybody's butt on the 250 celebration. So a lot of other cities are trying to do something. Encinitas, Carlsbad, Lemon Grove, El Cajon, they're all trying to do a little something, with the funds that they have or with the resources that they've had. But Santee is actually kicking everybody's butt on the amount of stuff that we're doing for America's 250 and the amount of just, throughout the duration of time. Because some are just doing stuff around Independence Day only. We have things started a couple months ago and they're continuing through the year. Because even though 250th birthday is on July 4th of this year, this is a year-long celebration. This is our 250th year of existence.
Yes.
So we're celebrating the whole darn year, not just Independence Day.
Yeah, but Independence Day is going to be big.
It's going to be big.
Did you see all the barbecues that are out there?
That's always a good start, barbecue.
She's very popular out there. Who doesn't love Daniel?
That's right.
What else did you want to?
I was saying that, there's a couple of different scuttlebutts out there in the county. Obviously, Santee's kicking everybody's butt, but around the city right now is a scuttlebutt about the tax measure that is going on the ballot. Yeah. So last Wednesday night, the city council meeting, if you saw or didn't see, the city council voted to put a sales tax initiative on the ballot. So the Santee City Council voted to put a measure on the ballot,
Yes.
not to tax the people, not to add a tax to you, not to do anything to you, but to put it on the ballot so you can choose if you want to have a higher sales tax and what the sales tax will go to and pay for.
Yeah.
Simple, right? So, you're going to hear a lot of things over the next couple months about all this. Obviously, working towards the November election. There's going to be opposition. There's going to be proponents for and against. A lot of information out there. We always start with educate yourself, number one, right? So go out there and get the facts, get the information, get the transparent information, and make the best decision for you. So it's the same as voting for an elected official, voting for a proposition, a measure, anything like that. Make the decision that is best for you and your family, what's best for the community. And again, vote with your conscience, vote with your heart. Don't do it because someone told you. Don't do it because someone threatened you. Do it because that's what you believe in. But get the facts, get the real information, and make sure you're educated in the decision that you make.
Yeah, you'd be surprised to learn this. You may just now hear it for the first time, but I'll tell you, not everything that's on social media is true. I know.
Rob,
it blew me away too.
Rob, we're on social media right now.
Like I said, not everything that's on social media is always true. There is misinformation out there.
Yeah.
Crazy, I know, but
And
it happens.
There's people out there posting information. There's AI that posts information. There's memes out there that are jokes. I mean, all kinds of things are generated, right? I'm not saying anybody's intent is wrong and right or indifferent. What I'm saying is understanding the content that you're looking at and finding the source to it and validating that source, right?
Yeah.
There's an old cliche of trust but verify.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So you want to believe you're seeing the right thing. You want to believe that someone's telling you the right thing, but go and verify that information. Make sure that they are being truthful and honest and with you.
I mean, I saw the one that blew me away the most was the salaries part.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
That's just crazy.
Yeah,
How could you even?
I didn't see this. I was told this because I try not to stay on social media and all the nonsense and the things that happen on there for the most part. And I think a lot of people know what we're talking about. There's a lot of back and forth that happens, electronically or from keyboard warriors or whatever you want to say, opposed to having a real conversation or talking and stuff. But I had seen, I think you were talking about last Thursday night, the mayor had come to me and told me that someone had posted that he makes $400,000 a year as the mayor of the city of Santee. Yeah. And that's the farthest thing from the truth. It's I don't know. It's blatantly wrong. It's blatantly not true.
Yeah, he makes $34,000.
Makes $34,000 a year.
Yeah.
These are transparent numbers. These are things that you can verify and look up.
They're on the city's website. They're in the budget every single year. These numbers, all 5 of us together, it was like 132.
Right. So let's break that down for everybody to understand.
All 5 council members, including the mayor.
So that same post or one that was related to it, one of the two, also said that each council member makes $200,000 a year. So that would be Rob would make $200,000 a year. I would make $200,000 a year. Councilwoman Cobalt would make $200,000 a year, and Councilman Hall would make $200,000 a year. So 200,000 times 4 is $800,000. Simple math, right? Yep. Plus the mayor making $400,000. That's 1.2 just in salaries, supposedly for council. But here's the real truth. The real truth. The mayor makes $34,000 a year to be the mayor here in the city. Exactly. But each council member in the city of Santee makes $23,000 a year.
Yeah,
that's it. That is our compensation for the time that we put into this city. It's $23,000 a year.
And no one's complaining about it. In fact, the last salary setting committee recommendation was to give us much significant raises, and we voted against it.
Yes, we voted. We said absolutely not. We will never ever take more than what the staff gets an increase for, which is typically COLA. So it's a cost of living increase. And this year we gave the staff 3%, and so we got a 3% increase, to our pay. on $23,000. Well, I get paid $23,000 a year. Rob gets paid $23,000 a year. Councilwoman Koval gets paid $23,000 a year. Councilman Hall gets paid $23,000 a year. Add those all together, plus the mayor, roughly adds up to about $120,000.
Yeah.
Not 1.2. So there's an extra zero added to the to the total sum somewhere along the line, and that's very typical of people exaggerating.
Yeah.
Because it's the farthest thing from the truth. And these are real, these are transparent things. No one hides, what we get compensated for our time.
No.
And Rob will tell you, just like I will, and someone else can tell you too, that $23,000 a year does not pay my bills. So this is a part-time job. We do this because we love the city of Santee. This is a part-time job, and $23,000 a year is below what minimum wage in the state of California is. So put that in perspective. If you think that we can do this job and live in the city of Santee or county of San Diego or the state of California, for this, that's not, again, reality, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately not. And we don't get the cool inside tips on stock like Congress people do. Like,
yeah,
what the heck? Signed up for the wrong jobs.
So the city council did vote to put a tax measure on the ballot last Wednesday night. Okay.
Yeah.
So basically, to summarize, what that means and what it is there will be a 1% sales tax ballot, or 1 cent.
1 cent.
However you want to look at it, it's 1% added to, or 1 cent of a dollar added to the tax or the sales tax, here in the city of Santee. There's lots of different levels of checks and balances that goes along with that. I don't think I want to get into the detail of that, necessarily, but if people do have questions, they can always reach out to either one of us. We'll be more than happy to answer those questions and make sure that people have the right information or the true information so they can make an educated decision for themselves, right?
Yeah.
But the reality is people want to know why. Why do we do this? Why do we give them a choice, right? So for me, I can only speak for myself, obviously, and I'll speak first before we get into some facts, Rob, is that I listened to what the people said. So there's a lot of misinformation, especially on social media, again, that we're not listening, right? So the 10 people on social media, the 100 people, the 1,000 people, however you want, whatever quantity of people you want to put to that are saying we're not listening, it is untrue. We are listening. So we did surveys, 2 surveys even at that matter, and we did some internal background, check different things to get more information in here. And I can tell you what the facts are only. So in those facts there, 64% of the people said that they wanted to vote. They wanted a chance to vote on this right here, on this ballot measure, or on this issue. 64%. That is more than the majority. Majority is 50%. I can tell you
Plus one.
Yeah, plus 1, obviously. But I can tell you right now, if all those surveys and all that information and all that work that we did to gather this information over the past year came back in a below 50% connotation, I believe that this probably would not be on the ballot, because that's not what the people wanted. The people asked to be able to choose here. So we are giving them the choice to choose at the end of the day. And there's real reasons why this came up too. So this came up because of the financial situation that the city has faced, or because of the rising costs that we are burdened by here in the city of Santee. Rob's going to talk about some of those facts, the actual real numbers that's happening. And it really goes, we use the comparison to our household, right?
Yeah.
So everybody's feeling the pinch at their household. Cost of groceries are going up, the cost of fuel, gasoline, homeowners insurance, the landscaper coming to the house, the pool guy. I mean, whatever we're doing to maintain our homes and controlling our budgets and stuff. And in your home, you have to make some tough decisions.
Yeah.
Can I afford the pool guy anymore? Right? I got to get rid of the pool boy because I can't I can't afford that extra rising cost. I got to drive less because fuel costs, but also because the other bills are taken away from my expendable income.
Yeah.
I can't eat out as much. I got to cook more at home. I mean, all these fundamental decisions we got to make, right? we're facing the same thing here within the city, and we're also going to talk about some of those real facts and real numbers of what the city is facing or has been facing in the past 5 years.
4 years.
Four
years for the
years,
most part.
basically, yeah.
But I asked the questions of, okay, so why is it that we can't live within the means? Like, how is that even possible? Having been up there for 16 years, I know we've made cuts. We've had cuts to the fire department. We've had cuts to law enforcement. We've had cuts to employees. We've frozen multiple positions in the city that, just to not hire if somebody left.
Mm-hmm.
We don't backfill, and we've asked for, more from less for so many years now. It's kind of crying wolf, and now you're starting to lose key people because we're not keeping up with the wages that other cities are willing to pay for these people to do the same job. Mm-hmm. And so you're constantly training new people, and you end up using your city as a training ground, which isn't good for any kind of planning or development. It's not good for public safety either, that you're just training people, and then all of a sudden, once they have the proper training, then they bounce out to somebody who's just going to pay them more because they can do that. It's the same job. They just carry it someplace else. So at some point, the dam's going to break. And so I was looking at how is this kind of just getting worse and worse? And so Dustin and I we had that conversation about, our house costs going up. All right, what's gone up in, at home over the last 4, 5, 10 years, and how much? So I said, well, let's look at the city in that same way and start pulling some of those numbers. I mean, we just talked about our liability insurance, just the liability insurance for the city and all the employees that we have as a city. Liability's gone up. Liability insurance has gone up almost 65%, 64% over the last 4 years. That's a huge increase.
It's a huge increase, but let's simplify that. 64% divided by 4 is roughly about 13%.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
13 and a half, whatever, it's right in that range. That's 13% year over year over year.
Yep.
Right? So what is the average, not only cost of living increase, but also like inflation? What are those increases?
Well,
numbers.
Inflation, unfortunately, did get away from everybody for a little while, and we got into the 6s and 7s in inflation. It's back down to the high 3s to low 4s, depending upon what inflationary factor you want to look at.
Sure.
If you look at, we really want to talk about true core and like the what do they call it? The Dallas median, where they take like the top 25 items off and the bottom 30 items off, just to get the lean median
In the middle?
for inflationary, for core inflation, is actually down to 2.1. So it gets rid of the stuff that fluctuates, so fast. Like right now, the reason that inflation's been up so much is because of
Kind of like a bell curve. You take off the highs, you take off the lows, and then you get that middle, right?
Yep.
Okay.
So it's running. I mean, these cost increases are running significantly higher than one that they had been in the past. But two, there's, on top of these things that I'm talking about, there's also state unfunded mandates. So the state keeps adding new laws to the books that cities and local municipalities are required to follow and implement, and within a very short period of time. But they have no funding behind how to implement this. Like we've had to put in a whole new, basically sound system type of thing, or media system at the city, because the state is mandating that we have to have city council meetings where people can call in now, video, you come in on video, and we have to be able to allow this to happen, and we have to provide the service for them. But they don't tell you, okay, but we as a state, we're telling you have to do this, and here's the funds to update your system so it can, it's compatible.
Right.
No, they don't do that. It's just, you got to do it. You got to do it by July 1st.
Yep.
And, that was at the beginning of the year. So they gave 7 months to get it done. And we've had to do it. So you got to research companies that, that can do it. Is it compatible with the software that you already utilize? Is it, can it be archived, because it has to be archivable? All these little things. And I was just like, well, I've always wanted everything online. I wanted our meetings online.
Yep.
And the main reason, we talked about this so many times, the reason we want it online is so that we can't tell you one thing to your face and then do something else when we're sitting on at the dais. I was tired of that happening time and time again from council members where I'd hear them say something to a constituent that I know is not how they really feel, and then they end up voting the opposite as well when they're sitting up on the dais. I'm like, I think we should all be responsible for what we say in those terms. We if we say we're voting this way, I can't later say, well, I never did that. yeah, you did,
Yeah.
and it can be seen. So we've always wanted that,
Yeah.
but I wanted it just like as a YouTube channel. I mean,
Right.
that's free.
Right.
But no, that doesn't comply with
Doesn't
state
comply
regulations.
with state regulation. Doesn't comply with the government, municipality, rules of community
privacy and-
interaction and like all these just nuances to doing something.
But
like
we
that.
talk so in that we're talking the software stuff. Software has been one of the worst. It was 187% over the last 4 years. 186% over the last 4 years. Software costs have gone up 186% over the last 4 years because of the things again that we are being required to do as a city.
Yep.
It's not the city council saying, hey, we want to do these things. These are things that the state or the federal government are telling us we have to do.
Right.
Otherwise, we don't receive our property tax share that we're supposed to get or state funds.
So let's go back on that one for think about the history of the city of Santee. The city's been a city for 46 years, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So back in the 80s when the city was incorporated, we didn't necessarily have computers back then, right? Everything was written on paper, carbon copies. I'm kind of making this up a little here.
I'm pretty sure Pam still has a copy of every one of those things.
Exactly. But everything was written by hand. It had to get filed away, archived. Like you said, obviously. In the 90s, things started changing a little bit. Got a few computers in the city. We got a few technology, DOS and MS, and all these different whatever things going on. The 2000 boom comes. Get some more computers. We actually get a thing called the internet. In there, start changing the way we communicate with electronic mail opposed to hand mail and walking a note across the office.
Inter-office memos.
Yeah, things like that. Well, unfortunately, the reality, just stopping at 2000 is that technology is always changing, right? Mm-hmm. So it's happening faster today than it's ever happened. So fast forward 26 years, you're looking at each of the last 2 decades. These phones we have are supercomputers that we have in our pockets today. The computers are at your desk. How people communicate. It's all changed, right? But to the software costs, like you're talking about, it's all of that plus how the city operates today, right? So the internet has created, information technology, IT, if to everybody's understanding, and that comes with security, cybersecurity.
Yeah.
It comes with protection that has to be protected. So all that information that a company has or a city has about an individual, all the information that is put into plans and building records and all these
non-public information.
Yeah, all this archiving that has to happen in there, but then it also has to be protected too. We have, there's a responsibility to protect people's personal information, even from the HR side of it, human resources, employee information has to be protected. It has to be, secured and archived, and all these things things happen today, and it's becoming not only big business for that industry, but a big task. So, in the past, Rob, you can answer this question. In 2010, did we have an IT department? I don't know the answer. I'm actually being honest.
We did, but it's like one person.
It was one person then, right?
Yeah.
So today in the city of Santee's IT department, there are 3 full-time employees and part-time employees that work in the information technology department. So it's a department has grown really in the last 16 years, for example, to what you're saying, not just in software costs, but also in personnel cost and cost to operate the city.
Yeah.
Right. So I'm just trying to put it in perspective to people of think about your world, think about the job that you may or may not have, in the real world and how the world's changed. The city's having to change and adapt along with it too.
Yeah. And the city has. And I can
Absolutely.
I can give you one space where, you know, I was actually met with the firefighters this morning, and you know, they were still upset that I went after overtime.
Mhm.
I went after their overtime at one point, and it was, you know, it was to me, I felt like it was out of control. The spending was out of control, so I, you know, I kind of platformed
Mhm.
on that you know, we need to get that in control, not to just say, oh, you know, we don't want it to be at overtime, because some things are just, they have to be done. You
Yeah.
can't just pull somebody off a shift if they're on a fire,
Right.
like those. But there was some stuff that went beyond that, and it caused that number to grow exponentially and get out of control. So, but at that same period of time, we were looking at fire and sheriff's department, so public safety, being on 73% of our
The overall budget.
Of our overall budget.
Our general fund budget.
yeah,
Right.
and now it's down to 64%. I mean, they have gotten that under control. They have put controls in
Yeah.
to stop some of that stuff from happening that was happening before.
Yeah.
They have worked hard to keep everything tight, as tight as possible, and it's almost a 10% savings, you know, from that time in 2016.
Well, I mean, so that being said, I agree with you. There actually is some savings on that. We've seen that happen, really, like I said, in the last 10 years. Some savings in that, you know, department in there. But it also, I think, it shows that the increases in other departments and the other areas, right? So life and safety used to be like you said, 72%, and now it's down to 64. But other departments or other costs have risen so much that they've taken a percentage away here and there
that is
too.
also, that's equally true. That is correct. But you know, I appreciate the fact that they have
Absolutely.
done their part in the family budget.
Yeah.
Because that's what it is. It's a family budget.
Right.
Every department, I even talked about this morning. Every department, you've all heard. You've heard my speech 1,000 times.
Yeah.
You know, there's 100 pennies in every dollar.
Yeah.
And every department wants all 100 pennies. And you know, every department may deserve all 100 pennies, but it's impossible. There's only 100 pennies, and we have to run a city. So where do you spread them out?
So
And how do you divide them so that everybody gets what they need?
the city's budget's what, 68 million? I
Yeah.
think this year, right? 68 million. So basically, simple math again, you guys. 1% is 68 million is 680,000. It's almost $700,000. So to move the needle 1%, like you just mentioned,
Mhm.
going from 72 to 64,
Mhm.
that's a 8% difference. So to move 1%, it's almost $700,000 that has to move.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So trying to put it in perspective to understand, you know, these dollars are large dollars. You know, it's not just saving 10,000, 20,000 here and there
Yeah.
to move 1%, right?
You know, another thing that we did move the needle on quite a bit with spending was this pavement maintenance,
Yes.
pavement and maintenance. So streets, for many years, we would spend maybe $1 million on
Mhm.
streets and repairs, infrastructure of that nature, because the city was a newer city. Streets have a specific lifespan, typically right around 20 years. And so when a lot of the city got kind of paved right around the same time because new developments came in and so on and so forth, you know, the streets have a lifespan, and you didn't have to put so much away. That's not our city anymore. We don't have all these, you know, huge developments coming in any longer that are paying for that infrastructure that they once were. So it is up to us to handle this. So now we're spending closer to almost $4 million, 3.8 on average over the last 4 years, compared to the 1.1 or less. Because there was a couple of years I looked down even further that it was like 390,000 that was only spent on roads for the city as a whole.
You know, I know, and so just to let people understand, like you said, obviously it was a newer city. It wasn't as much needed back then, you know, number one. But let's just say it's $1 million, you know, just roughly in there, million and a half, whatever, $1 million. The primary or the source of that $1 million was tax revenue.
Yeah.
So it is Transnet money and gas tax money.
Yep.
That's primarily the source of that money that comes in. So that money was going into the roads here in the city of Santee. Well, the reality though is that $1 million didn't keep up with the needs.
It doesn't. Yeah.
It doesn't. Number one, it doesn't, but it didn't, and it doesn't, right?
Yeah.
And the escalating cost to pave a road today
Yes.
is different than it was 10 and 20 years ago.
Yes.
You can get more done for $1 million than you can get done in $1 million today, right? So 5 years ago, roughly, and 6 years ago, but 5 years ago, we started putting in that $4 to $4.5 million into
budgeting
into the city. That difference that came, that $3 to $3.5 million, came out of the general fund. So before I came onto the council, there was no general fund money going into the roads. It was only the gas tax and the Transnet funds.
Yep.
That's it. Only the tax dollars were going into there.
And our streets continue to get worse and worse
and
worse.
no general fund money.
Them.
So we started putting general fund money in there, and in the 5 years, we made a significant difference in our pavement condition index, right?
Yes.
So that said, that going forward, that's a big issue. And that actually was one of the big items in the survey. It was the biggest.
It was the biggest.
It was the biggest, not one of the big.
No,
it was the
number
biggest.
one. It was actually the top 3 items.
Yeah.
Were all paving. It's just worded differently.
83 to 84%.
93. It was
93.
93 to 94%.
93 and 94% of the citizens of Santee
that were surveyed
wanted better roads. They wanted roads to keep being improved, or they wanted better than what we have today. And that's one of the things that came very glaring out of there. And this is a priority of the council for the last 6 years, 5 years really, that we have made it really I do believe it's been our number one priority. It is unequivocally has been our number one priority, but we only have so many dollars that can go to it.
Yes.
Right. So we were capping out
again, 100 pennies
at that $4 to $4.5 million, right?
Yeah.
Capping out. Right. And again, things just keep costing more, blah, blah, blah. Right. So, this is a choice that we're giving the people, to allow more funds to go to those items.
Yeah.
Right.
And, again, paying for it, like a lot of the other cities, how are people say, well, then other cities are doing, how are they doing it? Well, frankly, a lot of them have, they years ago, they already increased their sales tax.
Yeah.
Most cities where there's 5 total, including Santee, that haven't ever. And, we haven't even one of them. The issue is the other ones are like Encinitas, Carlsbad,
City of San Diego.
City of San Diego tried, they just failed.
Correct.
They actually just failed in the last election.
Poway, and Santee. Those are the 5 of the 18 cities in the county of San Diego that do not have a higher.
But on the other side of that, they also have the highest. They have four of them have the highest property rate values in the county.
Yep.
So they have more income coming in, even though they may not even have the same size population. They have more income coming in and a smaller population, at least for a number of them.
Right.
And so obviously that's a benefit for them to have less population to have to spend the money on and more money coming in to begin with. Yeah, we wouldn't need this either, but that's not the case here. Population growth over the last 10 years has been 6.7% over 10 in the last 10 years. So we went from 56,000 to 60,000.
Right.
And I mean, it's not a huge growth. That's not a huge 10-year growth.
No, it's pretty normal. So, normal growth is probably somewhere around 5%, right? I mean, average, I would say.
It's
So I don't know what normal growth is, but it's
five year over year.
Yes.
Not I'm talking 6.7 over 10 years total.
Okay, gotcha. I see what you're saying. Yes.
So it's not even 1% per year.
It's not even 1% per year, right?
Yeah.
But the average, like I said, is probably in that 3 to 5%.
For a county or for a city, yes.
For a city, right.
Yes, year over year.
And we've grown less than 1% year over year.
Yeah. So no increases in Carlsbad, Coronado, Encinitas, and Poway. Like I said, the Coronado, Encinitas, Poway, Carlsbad, they have some of the highest property tax rates, period, out of anywhere. And that's how they're able to do it. That's the number one way that any city does anything is their property tax basis.
Yeah.
That's the number one driver for income for any city.
You talk about Carlsbad. So I don't know if everybody knows, and this is all factual information, so I'm putting it to tell you, Carlsbad has a budget of $260 million annually. City of Santee has $68 million.
Yeah.
Obviously, their population is higher. It's 110, 20, I don't know, so somewhere in that ballpark. It's around 100,000 people, roughly, a little over, I think, in there. But they have a budget that is, let's do the math, almost four and a half times. Almost, a little over 4 times the budget for less than double the amount of people.
Yeah.
So
Hey,
equate.
God bless them, man.
God
That's
bless
awesome. They've got great property tax revenue.
Yeah.
I mean, the coastal cities are going to have that.
Encinitas is closer to population to what the city of Santee has. Their budget is basically double.
Yeah.
What ours is.
Yeah.
With the same population. Poway is the other one. That Poway is again very similar population to us.
Mm-hmm.
Has a budget that's, I want to say it's about 20 million, more than what ours was off the top of my head.
But a smaller population still.
No, they're about the same size.
It's smaller. I mean, it's not significantly smaller,
Right,
but it's
yeah.
definitely small. They have less. They have less
Right.
population than we do.
But the big thing in Poway, and a lot of people may or may not know, is they own their own utilities.
Oh, on top of that, yeah.
On top of that, so
Yeah.
they have their own water, their own sewer, opposed to like, well, we have Hot Dam here in the city of Santee. And so the big difference on that, though, is they put in their rates that they pay for water and sewer, they put in a road paving allocation towards that. So they use some of those funds to pave the roads because they're out there tearing up the, fixing the roads with the pipes and things like that. So they use some of that money to go to the roads. Poway, if you've driven, they have immaculate roads. So about every 7 years, they have a great program where they're repaving roads roughly every 7 years, and they keep up pretty well.
They do a good job.
with doing that. But they have an additional revenue source that comes from their utility department.
Yeah.
And
it doesn't count towards their general fund
to
revenue,
exactly.
which is what
Yes.
we're comparing to. So
Exactly.
we're comparing, like I said, yeah, they have maybe 20,000 more, but it's actually significantly more because they just put it into they derive it from a different bucket,
Right.
and so it's just called something different.
Right. Exactly.
So how are we doing it? How have we done it? We've literally done it with the least amount of people anywhere. So the city of Santee has the hands down lowest employee per capita than any other city in San Diego County.
So let's talk about household things. So what about fuel costs and electricity costs?
Yeah.
That's comparable to a household. We
Yeah.
talked about that, right?
Fuel cost has gone up 15.7% over the last 4 years.
15, it's almost 4% a year.
Yep.
On average, right?
And then electricity has gone up 16.4%. So
Okay, so 4.1.
Yep.
So basically both right around 4% per year.
Yep.
Which is probably a pretty normal increase.
Yeah.
That's kind of what you would expect, right? That 3%, 4%, it's kind of normal. It's inflationary, I don't know what the exact term is.
Well,
but
we could talk. All right, splitting out. I told you it was 64%
for liability.
That was 164. 64%. That's no liability. Yeah, you're right. I was looking at. I was thinking of
The software.
Yeah.
186%
Yeah.
of software.
Where was every city? Years. Oh my goodness. Overall, it was just the overall cost of public safety.
Oh, overall cost is so
There we go.
public safety.
60.
Of
I had
our,
it right.
64%
All
of our general
Yeah.
budget.
Yes, it's public safety. So in that, I separated it out from sheriff's department. Sheriff's department is 39.5% of that 64%.
Yep.
So our sheriff's contract, and we've been fortunate for the last 4 years. So we don't, as you may or may not know, the city of Santee contracts with the sheriff's department for services. We say we need this many people, uniformed people, and this many patrol cars, this many motorcycle cops, this many, whatever the case may be, and we contract for that throughout the year. And as that happens, or as it so happened, for the last few years, we've been really kind of blessed to benefit from a contract that was done countywide. And we don't have a seat at the table, by the way. We don't have a seat at the negotiating table. We get told this is what our rate is going to be moving forward for the next 4 years. You still can contract with us, but at what level is up to you. You want to increase the number of deputies, you want to decrease, whatever you want to do. We're looking and hearing through the grapevine that negotiation is it's going to be brutal. It's going to be rough. This one, because they had such a low increase year over year for the last 4 years, they want a significant one more, and they're having a harder and harder time recruiting new deputies. It's recruitment's way down, so the only way that they can incentivize people to take the jobs is to pay them more.
Well, let's break that down a little bit deeper, right? So we just talked about liability insurance, and the city of Santee went up 64.4% the last 4 years, right?
Yep.
So where's the sheriff's department at? Who's their boss? Who do they work for? The county of San Diego, right?
Yeah.
So where I'm going is the county is also seeing these pinches too, or these field. So county has increases in liability insurance.
Mhm.
The county has increases in fuel costs, maintenance costs, things like that, right? So all that is baked into their sheriff's department contract, or the cost of having a sheriff's department, right? So like Rob said, is that the city, we get to pick how many deputies we want, how many patrol cops, deputies, how many motor cops, how many detectives, all these things like that. But each one of those have a basis to them. They have a cost, right? So it's a la carte to an extent, I guess you look at it, right? We choose what we want and what is going to service our city in the manner that we want to service it, right?
Yeah.
But it has a cost to it. Each one has a baked-in cost that the county has established.
Yeah.
Is that?
And I have to also talk about this, because when I first really decided I wanted to run for city council, one of the things I wanted to do was establish a Santee Police Department.
Yeah.
I was frustrated that the sheriff's department, they just didn't seem like, in the beginning, I didn't feel like they seemed like they were fully engaged in the city of Santee. From my perspective, I would call it, I'd get a different person every time. I'm like, you don't even know what area I'm talking about. And I thought that would be great to have the Santee Police Department, Santee PD. And then you get elected and you start going through budgets and you start finding out what the cost would be just to even start a police department.
Yeah.
Then the tools and apparatus you have to provide for them. Then their pensions. Because you could do a 401k. Great, you absolutely could do a 401k type of situation, but again, you're just going to be the training ground for everybody else. Once they get the proper training done, that typically we end up having to pay for. They get on the job, they complete 1 year. Now they have all the minimum requirements that they need to go move to a different department and actually get a larger salary and a pension. So that's what would happen. That's what does happen. It happens in other fire departments in the country as well. They have a hard time retaining. So with this, we have to. And the tools. If something goes down like big, we wouldn't have a bomb squad. Right. Santee PD wouldn't have a bomb squad.
Right.
We'd still have to call somebody else in, and then we're still gonna have to pay for all. With the sheriff's department, it's all the tools are already there. They have the tools necessary, and they're ready to provide them for anything that comes up.
Right. So all those things that Rob's talking about is services that we have with our contract with the sheriff's department that are above and beyond just what you see out on the streets, right? So one example is a bomb squad, right? So if our deputies or our captain need to call in a bomb squad situation, the SWAT team, the county coroner, So when we have a death here in the city, that's done through the county's coroner's office. It's not done through. We don't have that here in the city of Santee, right? All kinds of special other apparatus that the county has, helicopters, Astria. The county has a plethora of additional resources that comes along with that contract that are available to us that as a small city we would never be able to own, let alone service, right?
Right.
We could probably pay for it somehow if we had to call it in from outside, but that's a whole nother thing to deal with. But we would never own it.
No,
we couldn't. service it.
No,
Right.
no, it just wouldn't make
It
sense.
just wouldn't make sense. We don't have enough calls for service.
Except for
Right.
to utilize those types of things. But but we do have other resources that we provide, like with our fire department. We have 2 brush rigs where some cities don't have. They have 0.
Right.
But then again, you look at our surrounding. Look at the surrounding hills of Santee's and things that we think are beautiful. They're also, that's where fires can happen, and a regular truck can't get to them.
Yep.
So you need the brush rigs to be able to access them and be able to put out those fires properly. But it serves us because of our surrounding. If you're downtown San Diego, you don't need that.
We don't need a brush rig. Right. Exactly.
It doesn't do anything for
So
you.
that being said, I mean, the investments that we put into our fire department in the last 5 years, we've gotten 2 new brush rigs.
Yeah.
A type, I'm get the numbers wrong, apologize. A type 1 and a type 3 brush rig or something like that we've gotten 2 new brush rigs, in the last 5 years. We've gotten a new engine. We've gotten new ambulances. We've gotten
what we're doing is
paramedics.
It's not entirely new. So we are. I mean, some parts of a fire truck and some parts of a medic truck or an ambulance are still good and usable.
Oh yeah.
So we're taking. It's actually basically we're just putting it on a different chassis. So it's the wear and tear of the engine is what gets tore up at the equipment, the boxes.
So let's break that down to the ambulance,
Yeah.
right? So they call it the box, the ambulance, right? So that back portion of the ambulance is the box.
Mhm.
So that in our case, we buy a new chassis truck with a new motor, new chassis. We just take the old box and put it onto that new one, so we're not having to buy a new box.
Absolutely.
We're only buying the truck itself. So
we're one of the few cities that does that.
Yeah.
But we're doing these are the things that we're looking for and looking and doing to save money because
right.
we didn't want to have a sales tax.
Right.
initiative.
Everybody thinks that there's frivolous spending happening in City Hall, right? That there's fraud happening and stuff in City Hall.
I'm like, please show me.
Yeah, a lot of people, unfortunately are saying that because they see it in the national media, right?
Absolutely.
So at the federal government, at the state government, at the county, at different levels. I'm not accusing one or anybody of anything, but what I hear the chatter on TV, on the national news, on social media is that there's frivolous spending happening, there's fraud happening, this stuff like that. And I've said it on the dais, I said it again, just like you said, let's say what we mean, let's be truthful and honest in there, is that we challenge each and everybody to come out and get the truth, get the facts, and see where the money's actually going, It's just, the reality is that this is what things cost today to make things happen,
Yeah. I mean, and so there was another comment about, why have it? Then why have it? If the contract works so good for the sheriff's department, why have your own fire department?
Right.
It would be cheaper to just go with Heartland.
Right.
And so we actually staff did a study.
Yep.
To check that out.
Just
see
recently, actually, not too long ago.
Yeah, and it is cheaper for us to run our fire department the way we run our fire department. It's already been established. The cost of the pensions and everything have already been done.
Right.
You're not starting from scratch. So yeah, we're totally fine. It runs cheaper and more lean than even Heartland does, even with that huge number of people that they can spread cost over.
Right.
We actually have a
here's the fundamental difference, the biggest fundamental difference in the city of Santee's fire department, and this is a Santee Lakeside Emergency Medical services that we have. So this is a joint JPA with the county, with the community of Lakeside primarily, right? And so here's the biggest difference. Like Rob said, it actually is less expensive for us to do our model that we have today. But we actually have EMS service or emergency medical service here in the city of Santee. It is the premier EMS in the county. Honestly, it really is. The model that we have, the way that this started many years ago, we have the best service for our people, opposed to like Heartland that contracts out with AMR.
Right.
So AMR basically does the BLS service, the basic life services for Heartland, and does the transports.
Mm-hmm.
We do all that internally, but every one of our paramedics and our firefighter paramedics are trained in ALS or acute life safety, basically. And so that means they can administer certain drugs, they can, take care of a heart attack, they can do all these very large scale emergency things that you would, that happens that we can do right here, and we don't have to bring somebody out from the outside to do that. We do have EMS or EMTs today, excuse me, that do BLS services now, and we've added that to the city of Santee for transport and for the basic, life service type stuff, cuts or abrasions or
But we've also done more than that. We've even added
done
like
way more
the
than
nursing. When you make that call,
nurse coordinator,
nurse coordinator.
Yep.
So we're not necessarily sending out a big ladder truck for somebody that's having heart palpitations.
Right.
It's it doesn't make sense. It never did.
Right.
But that's the way it always was because we didn't have somebody that could diagnose anything over the telephone
on a call.
And then send out the appropriate response team.
Yeah.
It was just send everybody and then we'll figure it out after that. Some people get to go home, some people have to stay.
Right.
And that's how most cities work. We have taken another step in trying to streamline this stuff to save money, not only up front by not sending everybody up front, but the wear and tear on the apparatus by not sending it all over God's creation for something it doesn't even need to be at.
Right.
So the guys can stay at the house longer if they just came off of a fire or a wreck or something like that took forever. They can relax for a few minutes without having to jump right back out for something that really has no effect on them. They're not doing anything regardless. So
and they can be available for
the things that
the big calls,
yes,
right?
the stuff
The
that
fires,
we really need them
the
for.
big calls, and not be stuck
Oh.
doing transport, not doing a calls for service, I guess.
Yeah,
So-
he's showing some of the stuff
Yeah.
that goes down.
Yeah, EMS, and hazard conditions. So 3 out of the 4 calls, 75% of the calls in this case, which is pretty average actually,
Yeah.
are emergency medical calls.
Yeah.
75% of our calls are.
Yeah.
That's what they are. All right, so we're getting a little late on the
Yeah,
show
sorry,
here.
guys.
We're running here. So actually, I want to finish with just a couple of things, Rob.
I have a lot more that I could have done.
So, we want participation. We want questions to come in. We want you guys to tell us what topics you want to hear about. Obviously,
Except for Michael Schwartz.
Obviously,
We're not going
talking
to talk about how handsome Dustin
the
is.
city of Santee again
Sorry,
right now.
Sorry,
But let's be honest, right? Thank you, Mike. Again. Let's be honest, right? So we've been honest through this whole show, talking about why it got approved to go on the ballot, right?
Yeah.
So last Wednesday night, we also had a vote on the budget.
Yeah.
Okay. So yesterday, July 1, is the fiscal year for the city of Santee.
The new fiscal year.
Yeah. So July 1 to June 30, right? So we just approved a brand new budget, the budget we're talking about. So that way the city can run and operate, basically, right?
Yes.
And so I remember last week, and hopefully I get this statement right, in our finance director's statement, and I reiterated it last Wednesday night, it said that our budget is a status quo budget.
Yeah.
So that meant there was no extra services added and nothing deleted.
Right.
Right? We were able to balance a budget by not deleting any services or adding any services. Right? So everybody's going to want to know, well, what happens if this tax measure passes? What happens if it doesn't pass? That's what I think fundamentally, not only the facts that go along with it, but people want to know if it doesn't pass, what's going to happen? If it does pass, what's going to happen?
Yeah. So if it does pass, I'll talk about that. If it does pass, when we pass a budget, these are the immediate things that have to be taken care of right here, right now, this year. We've got a laundry list of approximately $328 million worth of laundry that still needs to be done. It's sitting in the bag waiting to go to the dry cleaner.
These are what we call capital improvement projects to people to understand.
Retrofitting bridges for earthquake safety, corrugated metal piping underneath the ground to make sure that that roads we don't have sinkholes.
Park improvements. IT improvements.
Yes. So again, back to safety.
Road paving and
IT
maintenance. New fire stations.
For coverage, because our coverage times have greatly been have been increasing greatly in a lot of areas. So we need more coverage from the department to be where things are happening more. And in my District 1, it's the worst served. It can take up to 9 minutes for a response time, and it's supposed to be 4. So it's more than twice the amount of time, and it's, it's something that, but we can't afford. We frankly we can't afford to put another station up there without this. So no big deal if you never have to call the fire department. I guess for you it's great. If you have to call the fire department one time and somebody's life really does depend on those minutes, you want that station to be there. These are all things that we will. We just got to kick the can down the road even further. But so we're always going to have a balanced budget, or it's just what's going to be able to be funded in the budget. Yep. We're never going to go into a true deficit budget. It's just not what this council, I should say, has ever done.
Well, let's go back to the statement I made to start the conversation. We have no additional services being added in this year's budget, and we had nothing cut. So talking about balancing a budget, that's how we're going to balance a budget. Yeah. If we go into deficit spending, we are going to cut services.
We have
if we have a surplus or we have extra money, so to say, we're going to add services, right? That's fundamentally
we typically
how that works.
We do run on the conservative side, so we typically do have we call it a windfall. It's just things were a little bit better than we had anticipated on some things, to the count of tens to maybe a couple $100,000. That money we almost always put immediately right back into roads. Yeah. Because it's kind of found money. We had savings someplace else, or a little bit more income than we were told we were going to have on something. That money goes into roads because, again, as the surveys have shown, the number one priority of the citizens is the roads. Mm-hmm. So that is what we've definitely looked at doing first. And if it doesn't pass, what are we going to do then? Like I said, in my opinion, we're going to balance the budget. It's just we aren't going to be able to get to the capital improvements that need to be done at some point. We're just going to keep adding to them. At some point, they've got to be done. Otherwise, they become emergencies, and emergencies cost you a whole lot more than planned maintenance. Than any planned maintenance or development. So, emergency situations put people in jeopardy, and they cost more money. It's something that we don't want to be in the position of having happen. So we are, we hope that that the citizens find this necessary as well, and push it through. Understand if not. I get it.
Talked about it many times. We're not happy about this.
No.
Let's just be frank and honest. We're not happy about this, right? But we listened to what the people said. The people said they wanted an opportunity to vote on this. They wanted an opportunity to understand what was going on. So we're giving you the transparency. We're giving you the honesty, giving you an opportunity to get the facts and make an educated decision. I'm not going to tell you one way or another. I'm only going to serve you with the facts and tell you. But to answer the question again in another way, what happens if it doesn't pass? It's simple. These things just don't get done. That's a simple way of understanding this, right? Is that if we don't have that additional revenue to do these capital improvement projects, to pave more roads or to fix the bridges or the deferred, other capital improvement projects, they just don't get done. They won't get done. They'll be done over a longer period of time, ultimately.
Much longer.
Right. So that is the short answer. It just will not happen in any short period of time. It will be deferred for quite a significant ways down the road.
If not indefinitely.
If not indefinitely, some of these projects, absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's certain things that will have to get done eventually.
Yeah.
It could be 10 years before we see a new something or until something's fixed, or it could be 5 years. This is working through the budget itself. But to your 100 penny analogy, we only have 100 pennies.
We only have 100 pennies in the dollar. Yeah. Nobody's adding pennies to the dollar, unfortunately. If they do, please, I'll take more. We can definitely put them to work. And the city is, as I said, we run as lean and mean as possible. Mm-hmm. We have had and maintain still to this day the lowest employee per capita of any city in the county, and we're doing it with less funds coming in than most other cities in the county. Yeah. And we've been able to do this for a long time. It's just that there's not enough fingers to put in the cracks. Mm-hmm. in the dam right now, and so we've got to do some real repairs. We've got to get some real stuff done, and the funding for it is just simply not there. And with that, I think I beat this up enough for now.
Well, like I said, obviously you guys, before Rob closes out here today, we're here to answer questions. We want to hear from you. We want to know, what you want to hear for future agendas. Obviously, we talked about the city of Santee today. We're bringing a great topic next week. Obviously, 4th of July is coming up here, the Independence Day celebration on Saturday. Santee salutes. We hope to see you out there.
Absolutely. Well, and if we don't see you out there, and we will see you next week. Next Thursday, we'll be back on time, back on schedule. Everything will be all good. And there will be, I think there's another concert in the park starting next Thursday.
Right there, Cheese Whiz, 80s tribute band.
There you go.
Next Thursday night.
July 9th. There we go.
Yeah.
So we will see you all out there. But between now and then, you guys take care out there. Have a wonderful 4th of July and very safe. Keep all your fingers. We want to see all the fingers and toes still attached to everybody after 4th of July. So we will catch you all later. Come see a great 4th of July fireworks show at Santee Salutes. Don't try and do it yourself. We will catch you all next week. God bless you. God bless America. And God bless Santee. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.